over the many, many years. On the point, not to belabor the point, but on the point of, why should we care? First and foremost, we're our brothers and sisters keepers. We should love our neighbor as ourselves and go the extra mile when such horrible atrocities are being committed to stop it. But there's also, and Ken Isaacs in his testimony makes this point about, that we are not unaffected. Osama bin Laden was in Khartoum. When I met with the president of Bashir, he made fun and mocked that the United States were offered to the Clinton administration that we take Osama bin Laden. And I even met with Salma Ghosh, who is one of his terrible, terrible people, who was known for his torture. And I talked to him because I had to talk to him because he said, you got to talk to, and he was in the next room. And the bottom line was that he was offered. We said no under Clinton, and he went to Afghanistan, he being Osama bin Laden. And I had 37 people in one of my larger towns in Middletown killed by 9/11, 750 New Jerseyans, and all the others, World Trade, of course, and right here at the Pentagon, right nearby, and in Pennsylvania. All of that could have been stopped if we had just brought this monster called Osama bin Laden. But again, and you also pointed out, Ken, in your statement, which I thought was interesting, that our embassies in Dar es Salaam and Nairobi were bombed, and that was hatched in Khartoum. I held the hearings with Admiral Crow, sitting right where you are, on embassy security, and wrote the law, the Embassy Security Act, because our embassies were so at risk and did not have the kind of protection, including the visuals, to ensure that setbacks and all the other thing. But again, where did it come from? Americans died, and of course, people in those two countries from the car bombs that were set off there, all hatched in Khartoum. So let's not, Americans should say, oh, why are we caring about? We care because we should care, but we also care because it doesn't stop there. It extends out, and you gave, Ken, and so did you, Nicole, some really good reasons for that. Let me just, on the CPC to Mr. Perkins, I do think that ought to be done right away, so we'll make an all-out effort following your lead to the president to do that right away. As you pointed out, they had it for 20 years, and then things changed, and that gives an additional set of things that the president can do vis-a-vis Sudan. On the foreign terrorist organization designation for the Hemedti's group, that ought to be done right away to at least have an additional way of finding out where he's getting his funds and weapons. We know UAE is guilty up to their ears with and eyes in providing this. I would hope the president would call the leadership there and say, stop it. There needs to be that kind, in my opinion. Marco Rubio is a tremendous Secretary of State, but go to that next level and say, that's it. Delay is denial. More people will die tomorrow, next day, next day, next day, if this isn't done right away. So my hope is that we will get that high-level focus from the president himself to just do this. Stop it, and you provide all the testimony we need, in this forum, and others are doing it elsewhere to make that case. I did talk to Marco, to the chairman of the Foreign Ops Committee, Mario Diaz-Balart. I've been talking to him all the time, but I talked to him in between these votes, and he said, they're looking to really, fund to a way that is very, very significant, all these efforts. So that bill has not passed yet, but we've just got to do it. World Food Program, I go to their website and look at all the losses they have there in terms of underfunding, and people die from hunger when they're not fed, and the money has to be provided. So UAE, we all should shout from the rooftops, stop it now. Same goes for the military. We don't have as much impact on what Iran does as we do with Saudi Arabia. So the Quad, while it seems to be, it's there, it looks good, just like some of the things that happened at the African Union. But when do they, just say, hey, if this was your family that was getting slaughtered and your wife that was being raped, what would you do? You wouldn't stop until it was stopped. And that's the kind of sense of urgency that we hope this will bring, this hearing and your testimony speaking truth to power. So you did say about compel them to, the players, can to act, to enact a ceasefire. I'm not sure how we do compel them. Maybe you want to elaborate on that. And just what happens in the next week or more as people don't get food and as more killing happens. We can't get compassion fatigue. We just can't. We just have to triple our efforts. And again, I think this president is sitting in a very, very enviable place to say, that's it. And UAE, that will make, I think, a huge difference. We do have the resolution. I've introduced it, joined by my good friend and colleague and my colleagues to my right, calling for that special envoy. Have another person. And as I said in the last panel, there would have been no Sudan success without Senator Danforth, who I thought did an amazing job in the past. I just throw that out that we got to get that. I did not get a sense from the Assistant Secretary that they will do that. We're going to follow up on that, but he thought that Bulus and certainly Marco Rubio's drinking from a fire hose here. I mean, he's got so many crises that he's trying to manage. Having that very well-positioned person to do it, I could help make a difference. But the president needs to pick up the phone. Your thoughts, and then I'll yield to my friend. Again, yes. Oh, good.
Yep. A few more comments.
Please.
So in Nuba Mountains, I don't tell everybody this, but I'm getting ready to tell everybody this. We've been running a cross-border operation for 13 years, taking about 16,000 tons of food a year into Nuba Mountains and distributing it to 400,000 to 600,000 people. There's a lot of other aspects, healthcare, nutrition, that go with that program. I have 400 staff inside of Nuba Mountains, so I've got a pretty good network there to know what's going on. And last year, and this is an important point, we entered into a discussion with the Sudan Armed Forces and the SPLM North, and they came to an agreement for a 90-day ceasefire, and we airdropped 2,700 tons of food into an area of famine. My point in sharing this is that humanitarian ceasefires can happen, and they do respect them. Now, the day after the agreement was over, they went back to war. Boom, right back. But we were able to airdrop the food. I had staff on the ground, and we oversaw the distributions. And the government of Sudan, that is the Sudan Armed Forces, I went to Port Sudan. I met with General Burhan. I met with the other generals, head of GIS, and some of their co-workers are in here today. They came and visited with us. It is possible to get agreements. It's not easy, but it's possible. I think in preparation to come and talk to you today, I spoke with former Prime Minister Hamdok. I spoke with Hamedi. I spoke with civil society people. I spoke with Abdul Wahid. I spoke as many people as I could. 3 senior people told me there's only one person that can fix this. It's President Trump. And so I want to echo back to what Sam Brownback said, and that is that I think that the two of you are in a very unique position to be a catalyst and an encourager. It's almost like President Trump's in a unique slot and window for this conflict where he could get the attention of the leaders and twist their arms, break their legs. I don't know what, because your question is relevant. How do you get that done? It's easy to conceptualize it. The implementation of it's a different thing. But I do feel like that President Trump is the guy that can get that done. He is the man for this job right now. That's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to say I've read your 10 points very carefully. I thank you for them. And the first one was the special envoy, but the others as well, TSP, the other, all things that need to be very, very seriously embraced. So I do thank you for that. And I was very sick that day. You noticed. I had gotten my yellow fever shot too late, and I had a fever. But thank you. You were there, and it was very, very meaningful. And it just opened up my eyes like nothing else.